You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders and somebody we've talked about a lot, including yesterday, that just put his house up for sale, and I'm talking about Russell Wilson. I mean, everybody expects him to be out of Denver due to not a particular fit, due to contract and offensive scheme with Sean Payton. Now, there's been some speculation that maybe they could restructure the contract, but, well, when you put your house on the market, it tends to indicate you're probably on your way out. And that's the guess. One of the biggest franchises out there that has been speculated on involving Russell Wilson is number one, the Steelers. Just made a video on them. The Raiders, Falcons, usual suspects of teams that need quarterbacks. I would bet let's say if the Buccaneers lose Baker, if the Vikings lose Kirk Cousins, then he's going to come into play in all those places. The Patriots have floated around as well. Patriots floating around a lot on Baker Mayfield right now. However, an NFL insider has come out and said the Russell Wilson thing and the Las Vegas Raiders is likely to not happen. Now, there was a lot of speculation nationally that this could be a thing, not only because the feeling is Mike Tomlin and Antonio Pierce, in theory, may be more open to letting Russ cook. You've also got the fact that Luke Getsy is now the offensive coordinator, and he's got experience with another dual-threat quarterback, Justin Fields. Now, look, Russell Wilson can throw the ball light years better than Justin Fields from the pocket, so that might even be a better fit with Luke Getsy than Justin Fields was. But this NFL insider right here is coming out and saying, well, not so fast. This is probably a non-starter with the Raiders. You got to remember, there's going to be offset language in this contract. $39 million is what he's going to be owed, even if he's released, because of the guarantees. Now, all of that said, that allows an NFL team to swoop in and sign him for very little money, and the offset will be taken care of by the Broncos. Now, that would be some vindictive, kind of hilarious, poetic justice, I guess, between Raiders fans and Broncos fans. Let's look at this. Raiders are gearing up for an offseason marked by a strong push to secure a new quarterback. While several veteran options exist, the top contenders often associated with the Raiders seem poised to remain with their current teams. Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield, highly sought-after free agent quarterbacks, are expected to extend their contracts with their respective franchises. Meanwhile, speculation surrounding Justin Fields potentially being traded from Chicago has diminished, particularly following Luke Getsy's recent appointment. I don't get it. I mean, Justin Fields was starting to look good under Luke Getsy the last half of last season. I still don't understand why he wouldn't want to hook up with Getsy again, but okay. Russell Wilson, another seasoned quarterback, has been linked to the Raiders, albeit loosely. However, recent reports suggest that a move to Las Vegas is unlikely for Wilson. According to reports from Bleacher Report's Jordan Schultz, the Raiders and Wilson don't appear to align in their plans. Quote, I would be really, really surprised, based on what I've been told, if he ended up with the Raiders. I know there's been a speculation a little bit nationally, but it would surprise me if Russell Wilson ended up with the Raiders. I still wouldn't rule out the possibility of him returning to the Broncos on a restructured deal. Unfortunately, with the 13th overall pick in the draft, the Raiders face challenges in securing a top-tier quarterback. As of mid-February, numerous teams picking ahead of the Raiders also have quarterback needs, potentially limiting their options. And they could trade up. That is out there. The Raiders have made big decisions to make this offseason as they look to get back into serious playoff contention under head coach Antonio Pierce. So that leads us over to Aidan O'Connell. All right, the quarterback that's already there. A quarterback that, let's be real, did flash at times with the Raiders last year. In case you're wondering, this is PFF's final rankings, Pro Football Focus, and he was the 28th ranked quarterback in the league. There's some real stinkers laying behind him here. Zach Wilson and just guys that you don't normally associate with guys that are going to be starters going forward. Desmond Ridder, who knows what the hell happens with Mac Jones. Gardner Minshew, surprisingly, below that. I don't know. Interesting. So that leads us over to this, because Luke Getsy, by the way, there's been a lot of I guess it's from Chicago, a lot of let's crap on Luke Getsy kind of commentary out there. And Luke Getsy's kind of actually pretty respected around the league. And I think maybe the Raiders sneaky got a diamond in the rough here. Some people believe he got a raw deal with Chicago. All right, I know one thing. Davante Adams loves the guy because of what he did as wide receivers coach with the Green Bay Packers. So the Raiders recently introduced Luke Getsy as their new offensive coordinator. Experienced, respected coach in and around the National Football League, veteran coach will oversee one of the highest paid offenses this past season. Although coach Antonio Pierce publicly stated the Raiders would bring in another quarterback to compete with Aidan O'Connell, Getsy likes what he's seen afar in O'Connell. Quote, I think anytime you have a young guy like that who could come in and play as well as he did without getting to know him yet real well enough, I think it just speaks volume of the type of guy he is. Without even knowing him or talking about him yet, talking to him about anything yet, I could tell you right now that guy has got to be someone that prepares his butt off, like is a great teammate. I mean, for the guys to rally around him the way that I saw from the outside looking in, and for him to perform in the way that he did at the end of the season, that speaks volumes. So I'm excited to get to know him, excited to work with him for sure. Getsy spoke about ideal quarterback traits in today's NFL. Quote, kind of like anything, you'd like to have a little bit of everything, right? I think in this game, it's really important that you have some type of escape ability. It doesn't mean you have to be as dynamic as Justin Fields, but I think you have to have some escapability. You've got to be able to have a second chance and create the extended play, whether it's just sliding in the pocket or whether it's extending it with your feet outside of the pocket. So all those things are really important. Raiders' arch rival, the Chiefs, are a prime example of what an accurate mobile quarterback can do. It was on display in the Super Bowl, as we saw here in Vegas the other day. That ability of both of those guys, Mahomes and Purdy, to create a second chance of a play is an important part of our league. And when you're trying to win games, you've got to be good on third down and in the red zone. When you're good at those type of things, it usually because your quarterbacks has some kind of cool dynamic to be able to split the ball around, which we were pretty good at that thing the last 2 years. Well, that makes you wonder right there. I hear that, I listen to that, and I'm like, well, if that's what you want, why are we poo-pooing Russell Wilson? I mean, that's kind of the guy you just prescribed or described in some kind of a way right there, in my opinion. I just think there's a lot of things with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson that isn't necessarily a fit together, right? I think some offensive coordinators, maybe like a Getsy, again, I don't understand why Getsy and Fields can't work together. Justin Fields threw up major rushing numbers with Luke Getsy. Major rushing numbers. And the last 7 or 8 games of the year has given the Bears a lot more pause with just automatically pulling the trigger on that number 1 pick. They're probably going to end up using it, and Justin Fields is probably going to get traded. He still struggles to throw from the pocket. But nonetheless, he did look a lot better. I mean, I'm not going to kid you. I'm not big on these dual threat quarterbacks. I'm not. But the last 7-8 games of the season, what I saw of him, he looked pretty good, actually. He certainly looked like a playmaking weapon at quarterback. I still worry about his ability to throw from the pocket, and when you get to the playoffs, you've got to be able to throw lasers from the pocket. And I still contend neither Brock Purdy nor Patrick Mahomes are actually dual-threat quarterbacks. They're just pocket quarterbacks that have very good ability to slide around and scramble. There's a difference between scrambling quarterbacks or quarterbacks that can scramble and actual dual-threat quarterbacks that you run a lot of designed run plays with. Again, none of those guys have ever won a Super Bowl. That's not what Patrick Mahomes is. He can sit in the pocket and cut you up if you let him do that. You know? So, I just take it for what it is. You hear that, and I tend to believe Aidan O'Connell may be in trouble. All right? He's a lot more of what your prototypical pocket passer would be. By the way, it's interesting because he sounds exactly like, word had it. I did a video last summer about Aidan O'Connell before he ever got drafted. And it was in connection to the Broncos because it was pretty well known around the league. Sean Payton loved Aidan O'Connell. Thought he could run his offense like clockwork in much the same way that he thinks Jarrett Stidham is. I mean, some of these offensive guys just want a big pocket passer. That's what they want. That's interesting. I do think Aidan O'Connell's got something, though. I'm actually kind of surprised there's such a movement to just want to move on from him. That said, I know they threw up 63 on the Chargers, but when you really watch that game and what happened, there was a lot of short fields by way of the defense in which Aidan O'Connell took advantage of the short fields and scored a lot of points. There wasn't a lot of 10 and 12 play drives down the field for 86 yards, which is what I like to see out of an offense and a quarterback. You got to absolutely take advantage of short fields, but my point is you need to be able to sustain drives. Brock Purdy's very good at that. The Niners are very good at putting together those 7-minute, 12-play drives, 9-minute, 14-play drives that damn near end the game, unless you play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Good grief. Tell me what you think, Black and White Sports supporters. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.